Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here because today we're unpacking a topic that is literally reshaping how we learn and teach. We're talking about generative AI in education and how it's shaping the learning horizon. Honestly, we are standing at the very edge of an incredibly personalized, engaging, and accessible new era. So, if you've been wondering how artificial intelligence is actually going to impact classrooms, instructional design, or, even your own lifelong learning journey, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get right into it. Let's kick things off with a pretty foundational question. Is the future of education human versus AI? It's a provocative thought, right? And let's be totally honest here. It directly addresses a very real, very prevalent anxiety circulating out there right now among educators, academic leaders, and instructional designers. There's this huge, widespread fear of just being replaced by technology. But is that fear actually grounded in what the tech is designed to do? Okay, let's dive into this because the reality we're actually moving toward forces us to completely shatter that replacement myth. We aren't looking at human versus AI at all. We are looking at human plus AI. We're not talking about some dystopian future where robots are teaching students in total isolation. No way. Instead, what we're really looking at is a highly collaborative educational ecosystem. Human plus AI means working together to create smarter, way more inclusive, and honestly, just much more effective learning experiences. So, moving into our first section, the new learning horizon, moving beyond one size fits all. Which brings us to section 2. Transforming student experiences through the absolute power of personalization. Now, for anyone who might be newer to the edtech space, let's talk a bit about adaptive learning pathways. Basically, this is an AI-enabled educational route that customizes both the learning experience and the pace for each individual student. Imagine a digital textbook that essentially rewrites its own quizzes based on what you didn't quite grasp on the previous page. The AI is just continuously assessing where a student is struggling and where they're excelling, and it adjusts the curriculum in real time. It completely tailors that educational journey so nobody gets left behind, and just as importantly, nobody gets bored. To put it into perspective, it's almost like having an incredibly patient tutor who literally never checks their watch. Let's build on that idea with intelligent tutoring systems. These are AI-driven virtual assistants that provide dynamic, data-driven educational support. Think of it as having an always-on, 24/7 tutor right in your pocket. So if a student is totally stuck on a really complex STEM problem at, say, 11 o'clock at night, they don't have to wait until the next day to ask their teacher. The AI virtual assistant just steps right in, using vast amounts of data to provide the exact support that specific learner needs to overcome the hurdle. It's massively enhancing student success and, of course, their confidence. So, to bring it all together from the student's perspective, these core AI applications, like personalized learning, immersive tech, and intelligent virtual assistants, well, they aren't just shiny new gimmicks. They are actively transforming the very mechanics of how students absorb and process information. We're empowering them with tools that make learning a highly engaging and, frankly, highly successful process. But you might be asking, what happens to the teacher when AI is actively tutoring the student? Let's look at Section 3, Empowering Modern Educators and Reclaiming Time for Mentorship. And this brilliantly illustrates our point. Research from the Google blog highlights that AI can support educators with lesson planning and provide adaptive learning, ultimately keeping teachers at the center of the educational process. For any skeptical educators listening right now, this evidence-based finding should be a massive breath of fresh air. AI isn't stepping into the classroom to take your job. Actually, scratch that. It's more like it's stepping in to do the heavy lifting of lesson planning and adaptive tracking so that you, the human teacher, are kept right where you belong, at the absolute center of the whole educational process. The Wiley Online Library absolutely backs this up too. They highlight that while generative AI is definitely growing in STEM education and personalized instruction, they heavily emphasize the vital importance of responsible implementation and human oversight. Notice that last part, human oversight. I mean, in complex fields like science, technology, engineering, and math, the absolute necessity of the human educator just cannot be overstated. The technology facilitates the learning, sure, but the human ensures it's responsible, accurate, and properly contextualized. When you put this into practice, the human plus AI workflow is a real game changer. AI steps in to assist with data-driven lesson planning, instantly analyzing what the class needs based on their recent performance. Because of this, educators instantly reclaim massive amounts of time from administrative burdens. Time previously spent endlessly grading multiple-choice quizzes or drafting syllabi. And that leads to the ultimate goal, right? Teachers finally get to focus deeply on what actually matters: mentoring, inspiring, and really supporting learners. AI takes away the paperwork so educators can get back to the actual human connection of teaching. Moving right along to Section 4, Ethics, Privacy, and Equity, the essential guardrails of EdTech. Now, every incredible innovation requires an equal amount of responsibility. For example, if we implement AI-powered personalized support, it absolutely must be paired with strict student privacy considerations. We have to protect student data above all else for sure. If we push generative AI into STEM education, well, it requires mandatory human oversight to ensure ethical use. And as we roll out these immersive educational technologies, our core focus has to be on improving accessibility and educational equity. We literally cannot let AI create a larger digital divide. It has to be a purposefully built bridge to help close it. Which leads us to Section 5, the human plus AI future, and shaping lifelong learning. So the crucial point is pretty simple. Human plus AI. That's the central thesis here, and really the main lesson from this entire explainer. We are not designing a future where technology just replaces us. We are actively building a collaborative future where human empathy, creativity, and oversight are powerfully amplified by AI's incredible data processing and personalization capabilities. It's a future that is fundamentally smarter and just far more inclusive for every single type of learner out there. I'll leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. How will you adapt to this new era of human plus AI lifelong learning? Whether you're an instructional designer crafting new curriculums, an edtech founder building the next big platform, an academic leader guiding a school, or, simply a curious lifelong learner yourself, this future is already here. It's time to embrace it, shape it responsibly, and really use it to unlock human potential like never before. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this leaves you incredibly excited and totally prepared for the learning horizon ahead. Catch you next time.